Welcome to this explainer. Now, you might think we're going to talk about obvious junk food today, right? Deep fried stuff, greasy burgers, but actually, no. The research shows that everyday foods, stuff we genuinely think is perfectly healthy, might be silently taking a massive toll on our cardiovascular systems without us even realizing it. We're talking about things that secretly block blood flow to your heart and brain, and you probably have absolutely no idea it's even happening.
Okay, let's dive right into this pretty terrifying reality from the CDC. Heart disease kills one American every 33 seconds. Just pause and think about that for a second. 33 seconds. And what's truly staggering here is that the number one cause behind this statistic isn't bad luck, it isn't genetics, and it's definitely not simply getting older.
So, the crucial point we need to make is that the real culprits might literally be sitting right there in your kitchen. These aren't obvious fast food meals. They are everyday Trojan horses hiding in plain sight in your pantry and your fridge. Millions of us eat these every single morning, completely believing we're making healthy choices. Let's break down the top 5, starting with a swap that practically all of us thought was good for us.
Food number 1, margarine and vegetable spreads. Look, for decades, we were told to swap out our butter for margarine, thinking it was the heart-safe way to go. But doing that caused millions of Americans to develop heart disease at record rates. It all comes down to a chemical process called hydrogenation, which is basically how they turn liquid oils into solid fats. Well, this process creates dangerous artificial trans fats, and these trans fats act like a wrecking ball in your blood vessels, simultaneously raising your bad LDL cholesterol, lowering your protective good HDL cholesterol, and triggering severe inflammation all throughout your arteries.
And get this, you can't just blindly trust the packaging. There's a massive legal loophole where a product labeled zero trans fats can still legally contain up to half a gram per serving. And since most of us eat multiple servings of these spreads every single day, those trace amounts multiply dangerously fast. If you check the ingredients and spot the words partially hydrogenated oil, do yourself a massive favor and put that tub right back on the shelf.
Moving right along from breakfast to lunch, we have food number 2. Processed deli meats.
I'm talking about your standard lunchbox staples here. Turkey slices, ham, bologna, salami. Now, you might look at a few slices of deli turkey and think, hey, lean protein. But consider this. A single processed meat sandwich can deliver well over 1,500 milligrams of salt. That's more than half of your recommended intake for the entire day, jammed into one quick meal. This huge influx of sodium causes your blood vessels to physically stiffen up, forcing your blood pressure to dangerously spike, and making your heart work so much harder with every single beat. But it isn't just the salt. A landmark Harvard study looked at the sodium nitrates in deli meats, those chemical preservatives, and found they're directly linked to the narrowing of arteries. In fact, eating processed meat daily spikes your heart disease risk by a staggering 42%. A 42% increase. That is nearly half again your normal risk, all coming from a simple, everyday sandwich. So if your lunch is doing that much damage, it brings us to a pretty shocking question. What is your artery's absolute worst enemy? Because our third food is something almost every American eats right when they wake up, setting off an explosive chain reaction of damage for the rest of the day.
And that brings us to food number 3, sugary breakfast cereals.
You wake up, pour a bowl, splash in some milk, and think you're starting the day off right. But that colorful box with a friendly cartoon character is hiding some seriously alarming math. A standard serving size might claim 12 to 20 grams of sugar, but let's be real for a second. Nobody eats just one tiny serving. When you pour a typical standard-sized bowl, you're suddenly looking at 2 to 3 servings, meaning 36 to 60 grams of sugar. This chronic daily sugar assault forces your liver into absolute overdrive, desperately trying to convert all that excess sugar into dangerous fats called triglycerides. And why does that matter? Because those triglycerides accelerate atherosclerosis. That's the hardening and narrowing of your arteries caused by that very fat buildup. This chain reaction literally turns your supposedly healthy breakfast into a direct, fast-track pathway to heart attacks and strokes.
Okay, next up is food number 4, bottled salad dressings.
This one hurts because you actively decided to have a salad. You're trying to be healthy, but the moment you pour on commercial bottled salad dressing, you just undid all of that good work. These commercial dressings are hiding terrible secrets. You're essentially drenching your greens in hidden high-fructose corn syrup, which spikes those exact same triglycerides we just talked about. Plus, they're packed with artificial preservatives and emulsifiers that completely disrupt your gut health and trigger systemic inflammation. Just to put it in perspective, a tiny 2-tablespoon serving of a popular ranch or Caesar dressing is completely loaded. We're talking highly processed seed oils linked to cardiovascular disease, 300 milligrams of blood pressure spiking sodium, and 15 grams of inflammatory fat that directly attacks your cardiovascular system. And remember, practically nobody uses just 2 tiny tablespoons on a big salad.
Finally, we reach food number 5, microwave popcorn and packaged snacks.
It's America's favorite light snack, right? We eat it during movie nights, work breaks. It's marketed as this guilt-free treat. But traditional microwave popcorn has a unique danger hiding in it, well beyond the refined oils and extreme sodium. It's the bag itself. They're lined with PFAS, which are chemical bag liners that literally leach directly into your food as it cooks in the microwave. And multiple studies have linked these exact chemicals to increased cholesterol levels and cardiovascular disease. To make matters even worse, the popcorn inside is usually drenched in an artificial butter flavoring containing a chemical compound called diacetyl. This compound is heavily linked to serious lung damage, and it compounds that extreme cardiovascular damage we just talked about. You're essentially microwaving a bag of heavily processed chemicals.
All right, take a breath. So what should we eat instead? How do we stop the damage and protect our arteries right now? Let's look at some actionable substitutions. The really good news here is that you have the power to stop this damage immediately. First off, for your spreads and proteins, replace that trans fat-loaded margarine with real grass-fed butter or extra virgin olive oil. It's an easy swap. And for lunch, swap out those nitrate-packed processed deli meats for fresh grilled chicken or some wild-caught fish. These are clean, healthy proteins that simply won't stiffen your blood vessels.
Next, let's fix your breakfast and your salads. Ditch those colorful cartoon cereal boxes entirely. Instead, try steel-cut oats topped with fresh berries. And when you make that healthy salad, keep it healthy. Dress your greens naturally with a simple, delicious mix of olive oil and fresh lemon juice. Way better than those bottled chemical dressings.
Finally, when snack time rolls around, trade the chemical-lined microwave popcorn for raw nuts. Things like walnuts and almonds are absolutely fantastic because they are scientifically proven to actively reduce arterial inflammation and lower your bad cholesterol. It's a snack that actually heals your heart instead of harming it. Let's do a quick recap of what we've covered today. The 5 silent artery destroyers are margarine and vegetable spreads, processed deli meats, sugary breakfast cereals, bottled salad dressings, and microwave popcorn and snacks. Look, if you're eating even 2 or 3 of these foods regularly, your arteries might already be paying a massive price. You really need to start making the switch today. If this explainer changed how you view your morning routine, will you make the healthy switch today? Please share this with someone you care about because their heart really can't wait. Before your next meal, ask yourself, what is actually hiding in my pantry? Know your body and protect your heart with the choices you make every single day.